everybody, and welcome to the Sancia block. I'm Santo Cheravino, and today's episode, I'm going to try and stray away from like the political layer of Sancia for a little bit and try to see if I can elaborate on the cultural layer. Just to spice things up because you're probably going to be hearing a lot of political anyway. I guess a little background is in order. Basically, the thing with Sancia is very hedonistic. Everything's about life, fun, pleasure. Like the greatest good, the ultimate core essence of a life well fulfilled is to derive pleasure from it. You know, and I just think this to myself because it's like, we came to this earth, we have no recollection of how we came here, and clearly what puts us in rage, anger is just not the way to live. So the polar opposite of that, that puts us in better spirits, where we derive meaning in our lives, or make other people happy, making ourselves happy. Pleasure, pleasure is the ultimate good. Part of what inspired Sancia, if anybody's familiar with Greek mythology, look up. I guess you pronounce it Dionysus. In the Roman text, he's known as Bacchus, and that's the god of wine. Pleasure. I guess what is it? The harvest, something like that. Like he's like the Lord of Plenty, so to speak. So he's definitely a figure of inspiration that makes Sancia what it is. Specifically, I guess for this episode, I'll talk about what was known as symposiums. In ancient Greece, they were just really big drinking parties. Uh, and I want Sancia to basically carry on that. Obviously, none of us were alive 3,000 years ago. We don't know everything they did back then, but you see it in all the media. That's just that marble and togas, robes, the olive wreaths, the vines, the grapes, marble. Oh, that stuff is just so beautiful that I want part of that to be incorporated into Sancian culture in some way. And I figure the symposium is the way to go. I'm still working on it, trying to perfect the way to really present itself. But essentially, in Sancia, symposium is a giant party of, let's say, vices. As long as you're 18 and older, you're able to go to a symposium. You can theme symposiums. There's specifically parties to do all those crazy fun things, whether it's drinking your ass off, smoking, orgies, whatever, just crazy, have fun. Obviously, if it were to exist in today's environment, chances are you could also get like technology in it too, but I feel like that seems a little manufactured, but whatever. I guess the way it's organized is, in fact, give me a moment, I'm going to pull up this system here. I can tell you up front that the persons hosting the symposium are called the symposiarchs. Just give me 1 second to write this address. And the persons attending the symposium would be called the symposiasts. That I can say. Here we go, symposiums. The big number one rule is, because suppose you have a Sancian community anywhere else in the world, number one rule is to follow the laws of your jurisdiction, especially if you're in another country. Obviously, it's your culture, you want to have fun, but you got to respect the laws of another, nation's land. So what might be perfectly legal in Sancia is illegal in another place. Just don't do it, you want to basically represent yourself better and to be a good neighbor. Two things you definitely want to have at any symposium would be a supply of water, so everybody stays hydrated, especially if there's a lot of drinking. And I specifically say red wine. It's a subtle symbol for a national blessing at the party. So you don't have like flags and parades or any of that. It's just a way of saying the culture Sancia is here with us, without looking too obvious. Especially if it's a loud and wild party, everybody's just balling out, having fun. I mean, it's also considered, a national drink in my eyes. I'm looking to probably do that. Another rule, obviously, nobody under the age of maturity, which in Sancia is the age of 18, is not allowed to come because of all the debauchery that's happening. Uh, Another thing is you want to play responsibly because, number one, you don't want anybody getting hurt, passing out, getting quote unquote assaulted the wrong way, that sort of thing. One etiquette I did make is don't make any sexual advances unless you see some kind of sign that explicitly says it's okay. And I did design a sort of code to illustrate that, which I may end up talking about in another episode. But otherwise it's always polite to at least always ask first, even in that case. But in strict traditional Sancian sense, you do not ask unless you see the code, because that just obviously means they're not in the pool. But like I said, I'll elaborate that in another episode. Yeah, I mean, it's basically just a wild, frolic and have fun kind of party. Bring all your hookah pipes. Obviously, I'd make weed legal there. Everybody would do that. Alcohol, obviously. Um, yeah, if anything, you know what? It might be a little late since I've basically ended this episode, but I figure if you want to get a good picture of what I want to imagine and what inspired me to really picture this up, the way I want Symposiums to feel, if you were to look up the music video by Alice DJ, that's Deejay, and the song is called Will I Ever. About half the song you see them inside a painting of what looks like a Greek temple, complete with the robes, the partying, the sexy men and women, just it was just very beautiful, elaborate, and obviously it's a damn good song to listen to. That kind of thing I'd like to hear more. So either way, I think that may conclude my episode. I really don't have much else to say. Like I said, it's more of a cultural thing than a political thing. There's not much else than to describe it. So yeah, long story short, symposiums are basically parties of vice, so to have fun. Um, and they're inspired by the whole ancient Greek styling, so I basically took that and modified the hell out of it. Not so much to make it uniquely Sancian, because you obviously can't do that if it's taken from something else, but it's, like I said, it's something that really inspired me. It's something I definitely want in a country that prides itself in pleasure, hedonism, partying. Like I said, hey, it's one of the three words in the Sancian motto. You have mirth, unity, honor. Mirth is the big one. So I basically just laid out everything I had to say. I guess I'll catch you all again next time. Till then.